Hey, welcome to a new video. Every day, we're more and more convinced that the ocean holds more secrets than we could ever discover in our lifetime. But every once in a while, something is found that is quite inexplicable and mysterious. Are you new to this channel? Make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. And before we start, also like the video. It's not hard to imagine how the giant squid has inspired legends and movies. The first thought that comes to people's mind is that the kraken can do a lot of damage because of its size. In 2015, a giant squid was spotted as it swam to a pier in Japan and allowed people to swim alongside it. This is an incredibly rare experience, as giant squids don't often show themselves. On Christmas Eve that same year, another giant squid appeared in Toyama Bay in Tokyo. This squid stunned many bystanders because of its size, which was estimated at 12 feet or 30.7 meters. The crazy thing is that this was a fairly young squid. If given enough time, it could grow to triple its current size. In fact, some of them can reach a length of up to 30 feet or 9 meters and weigh no less than a ton. The aptly named Loki's Castle would make you believe that you have landed in another world. The reason it got that name is because of its creepy resemblance to a fantasy castle. But it's actually a field of 5 active hydrothermal springs located between Greenland and Norway in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. Discovered in 2018, this fascinating place is located near a volcanically active area. The video images you see here are also called black smokers. These are basically volcanic vents in the deep sea. They spew out boiling water that is almost black in color. So the water at Loki's castle is incredibly hot, reaching over 572 degrees Fahrenheit or 300 degrees Celsius. Researchers were also surprised to discover 20 new species of animals living here. When the dinosaurs were wiped out some 65 million years ago by a meteorite impact, marine life began again fairly quickly. However, in May 2012, a team of researchers from Denmark and Germany were surprised when they found microorganisms in the Pacific Ocean that were dated more than 85 million years ago. It's known that microorganisms such as sponges can survive tens of millions of years. The most interesting part of this discovery was how these microorganisms were still alive. They had no food and hardly any oxygen. The microorganisms had been found in the sediment at the bottom of the ocean, and according to researchers, they were barely alive. A discovery like this is very important for science, because it shows that even if something catastrophic happens, life can continue to exist in this form. In October 2016, a video went viral of a strange sea monster in the Chena River in Alaska. It was supposedly filmed by an employee of the Bureau of Land Management. The man named Craig McCaw saw a 5-meter-long object moving back and forth for several minutes. The video was uploaded on Facebook and has over 1.2 million views. At first, many people thought it was a rope attached to the ice, but others say that they can see quite clearly a head and a snout with tentacles, and that the ice just stuck to the monster's back. Several news sites like ABC and Business Insider have picked up the story and say it might be the Loch Ness Monster. It looks like a living thing, but I have no idea exactly what it is. What do you guys think? Is it a piece of rope or is it a sea monster? Let me know in the comments. This is the gulper eel. It looks like any other common eel, except it has an extremely large mouth that's wide enough to swallow a fish larger than itself. Its hinged mouth can simply swallow its prey in the water and expel the water through its gills. This way of feeding is also quite similar to that of a pelican eel. This fish is black in color, and the long narrow body can reach up to a meter in length. They lurk in the ocean at depths of about 1,640 to almost 10,000 feet, or 500 to 3,000 meters. Shellfish, fish, and cephalopods make up their main diet. But in addition to its large mouth, the gulper fish has something else fascinating. Namely, it has a long whip-like tail, and at the end of it is an intricate organ with several tentacles that can glow from pink to bright red and are meant to lure and attract its prey. We're gonna stay in Japan for a while. Imagine this scenario. You're diving and suddenly an army of Japanese spider crabs comes towards you. In the video, we see thousands of crabs coming out of the depths of the ocean, clambering over each other and covering the seabed. But this happens every year. In fact, you're witnessing the annual migration of spider crabs, which takes place between late May and mid-June. It's impossible to count the number of crabs, but it's hard to miss this migration. When this annual migration takes place, large groups of crabs the size of a melon come up from the depths to the shallow water. There they shed their shells, counting on the fact that a predator would not dare attack them in these numbers. The sheer quantity is enough to amaze you, and think about how incredible nature can be. Queen Anne's Revenge was the world-famous ship of the English pirate called Blackbeard. His real name was Edward Teach, and he was known as one of the most notorious pirates in history. In the year 1718, the ship sailed against a sandbank in the north of the American state of North Carolina and has not been found since. However, on November 21, 1996, a research team found a shipwreck that was 31 meters long, which turned out to be Blackbeard's ship. Since then, numerous objects have been found, including cannonballs weighing between 900 and 1,400 kilograms, as well as coins, gold, jewelry, medical equipment, and much more. One of the most recent findings were 16 paper fragments with text on them that they found in one of the cannons. According to researchers, they only dug up half of everything, so in the next few years, a lot of secrets will probably be unraveled. In November 2007, a mysterious discovery was made by the Shell Company on one of their oil platforms in the Gulf of Mexico. This alien-like sea monster was found at depths of 2,377 meters. If you were to come across this thing, you would probably be scared to death. After examination, it was found to be a Magnapina squid. This Magnapina has incredibly long tentacles that are estimated to be 8 meters long. It's said that there might have been squids that were over 30 meters, meaning that the story of the mythical creature the Kraken could be real. However, this Magnapina is very rare, and you will only encounter it in the dark depths of the ocean. According to scientists, they even go as deep as the bottom to find food. Discoveries like these make you wonder what else is hidden in the oceans. This is the vampire squid that literally comes from hell, and just by looking at it, you can guess how it got its name. The vampire squid is blackish with red colors. These are also the colors associated with the mythical creature, the vampire. It also possesses multiple arms that together resemble the cape of a vampire. The vampire squid can grow up to 12 inches or 30 centimeters long. And this deep-sea creature was first discovered in the late 1890s by zoologist Carl Kuhn, who wanted to confirm whether there really is life in the depths of the ocean. But don't let the vampire squid's name fool ya, because it's not really a squid. Although it has 8 arms and 2 tentacles like all other squids, the vampire squid belongs to its own order, the Vampiromorphidae. Another interesting feature is the large eyes. Relative to their body size, they probably have the largest eyes of any animal. It's said that the movie Godzilla was created thanks to the inspiration of the marine iguana. These lizards have a unique way of life and collect their food from the sea. In addition, they're found only in one place in the world, the Galapagos Islands. However, the reputation of these iguanas goes further. After all, Charles Darwin himself described them as hideous and called them clumsy lizards. But that's not entirely true. These monstrous iguanas live to the extreme, and they will do anything to get food. The younger marine iguanas usually stay on the shore and feed on algae that is exposed at low tide. And the larger marine iguanas venture into the sea, and with their claws, they grab onto the seabed. With crocodile-like movements, they navigate their way through the water. There, they can stay underwater for more than 10 minutes. Are you ready to see what may be the world's oldest underwater mine? Welcome to Yucatan, a mine where people mined some 12,000 years ago. This cave system is so complex that miners could easily get lost. Researchers came across incredible finds of excavation tools as old as 11,000 years old. One of the divers who entered the mine described it as a portal and said that entering the cave system felt like the old world, where possibly America's first inhabitants worked. The Sulphur Gorge is an underwater site where tectonic plates from North America and Eurasia meet. The Earth consists of 7 large tectonic plates, and every year the Sulphur Gap goes 2 centimeters further apart. This could cause earthquakes to the surrounding area, which is dangerous for the divers. If you want to visit this beautiful place, you have to go to the national park Thingvellir in Iceland. The water here is very clear, and it has a consistent temperature of around 2 degrees Celsius. It's a popular diving spot and the only place in the world where you can touch both continents at the same time. There's year-round diving tours here that go up to 15 meters deep. However, it's not recommended to go even deeper, because somewhere around 60 meters, there are several underwater caves in which you could get lost. This video was allegedly filmed near Japan in the Mariana Trench. The Mariana Trench is the deepest known spot in the ocean with a depth of 11 kilometers. According to several sources, this video is from Japanese scientists from the year 2000 and 2003. They had dumped bait on the bottom of the ocean with a container. This caused a school of fish to come and take a look, but eventually a monstrous shark came along. When the video went viral, it was said that this was possibly a megalodon that died out 2.6 million years ago. The huge shark is estimated to be between 7 and 15 meters long. Megalodons could reach 18 meters in length. However, there's also stories circulating that this is a Pacific lurching shark. These average around 4 meters and are rarely seen because they live very deep in the water. Whatever it is in this video, we may be seeing the largest shark ever captured on camera. He may look more like an eel, but the frilled shark is a real shark. His bizarre appearance can be attributed to his primitiveness. That is, he has not undergone many changes since his earliest time of existence. As such, it's also considered a living fossil, because it has no living close relatives. The fringing shark gets its name from its 6 gill slits, and it lives between 2,000 and 3,300 feet, or 600 and 1,000 meters underwater. But at night, it sometimes comes to the surface to feed. The fringing shark may look old, but its jaw is as fearsome as that of a great white shark. It has a total of 3,000 trident-shaped teeth in 25 rows facing backwards. In 2007, a Japanese fisherman caught a fringing shark that he thought was an eel with terrifying teeth. It was taken to an aquarium in the Awashima Marine Park, where it unfortunately died a few days later. If the thought of encountering a giant freshwater eel underwater already scares you certainly don't want to encounter one that can move across the land. These marine animals hatch from an egg in the ocean, and they embark on a mission to travel thousands of miles or kilometers to the mainland. The treacherous journey has a survival rate of 1 in 10,000. The very fact that they can cross the mainland is mind-boggling, as they encounter obstacles, defeat predators, and all while having no real legs. After slithering their way through, it's all worth it when they reach their home in fresh water. Eels are found in ponds, lakes, or rivers, and as you can see in the video, they can reach a considerable length. Some species can grow up to 5 feet 6 inches or 1.7 meters long. But unfortunately, they're usually harmless to humans, unless provoked. But fortunately, they're usually harmless to humans, unless provoked. If you thought the terrifying Bermuda Triangle was the only mysterious area in the world, you're wrong. Old legends tell that when you wander around the Pacific Ocean, there are ghost ships and ships without their crews floating around. With a reputation not unlike that of the Bermuda Triangle, the Devil's Sea has left its mark on history since its discovery. It was here that Kublai Khan, the grandson of Genghis Khan and the leader of the Mongol Empire, lost several of his ships and thousands of his crew members. In the early 1800s, it was reported that a mysterious woman had been seen sailing a ship there. In the 1940s and 1950s, more than 5 military ships and numerous fishing vessels were reported missing here too. What's even stranger is that the ship that went to investigate the incident never returned. A man named Mark Watkins came across something strange in the Indian Ocean off the coast of Western Australia in July of 2016. Mark was fishing with his father when they saw something lying in the distance in the water that looked like a hot air balloon. When they came closer, they saw a pink ball with a dirty smell coming from it. Pretty soon, they realized this was a blown-up carcass of a whale. They took some pictures and decided to go back to the coast. If this hadn't happened, it's possible that the whale will explode by itself, due to an accumulation of gas in the stomach during the decomposition process. When this happens, you definitely don't want to be near it, because I think you can imagine what kind of filthy smells will be released. In March 2017, a man was boating with his son when he suddenly encountered a mysterious sea creature on a beach in Georgia, Florida, in the United States. The sea monster was photographed on Wolf Island and was brought out by several news outlets. The nearly 2-meter-long animal is something I've never seen before, and some people in the comments think that the animal might be descended from the Plesiosaurus. The bizarre sea monster has a tail extending from its body and an elongated neck with a small head. In my opinion, it looks like a prehistoric animal, but unfortunately, I couldn't find any updates on what this monster could have been. If you guys have more info, please let me know in the comments, because I'm interested to know what you think. Sea spiders are not true spiders, but marine arthropods. With over 1,300 species, they're found in the oceans all around the world. The fascinating thing about sea spiders are their incredibly long legs on a very small body. Some have 4 pairs of legs, while other species have 5 or 6 pairs. Their legs can absorb gases that are transferred to their bodies by diffusion. For this reason, they don't need a respiratory system. They also do not have a real head, but only a head-like part, called a cephalosoma. Despite living in the dark, deep waters, they possess beautiful pigments that brighten their bodies and legs from yellow stripes to purple and red. Sea spiders have an interesting way of reproducing and raising their offspring. The male can carry the eggs in a structure called ovaries, and even after the larvae hatch, the offspring are kept by the spider to protect them from predators. Have you ever seen the video of the Venus flytrap plant that catches and devours insects? There's also an ocean monster that can be compared to this. Meet the predatory tourniquet, also known as the ghost fish. This sea creature looks like it came out of a horror movie. It's a predatory tunicate that looks terrifying and is anchored to the deep-sea bed waiting for unsuspecting prey, such as small fish or shellfish. The trap closes and stays closed until the prey inside is fully digested. You might wonder if they pose a threat to an unsuspecting diver and wait to catch one in their traps, but the answer is simple: no. The predatory tunicate are about 5 inches or 13 centimeters in diameter, but that doesn't make them any less terrifying. In 2017, when an anonymous man who worked in the oil and gas industry was at work on an ordinary day, he came across something mysterious in the Mediterranean Sea. He was using an ROV underwater robot and found a 98-foot or 30-meter-long skeleton, which is thought to have been a dinosaur species or sea dragon. Imagine if you were diving in the ocean and suddenly came across a bunch of bones that looked like a full spine of a dragon. Not knowing what to do with this video footage, he shared it with a paranormal researcher named Deborah Hotswell, who uploaded it to YouTube. She took on the task of investigating the origin of this giant skeleton and compared it to other large sea creatures, such as whales, sea snakes, and belted fish. But according to her, these marine animals are much smaller than the discovery of the dragon skeleton. Because of this, it remains a great mystery to this day. What do you think this would have been? Let me know in the comments. In 2007, some divers were looking for old shipwrecks when they suddenly came across a stone construction. Because of the way the stone stood in a circle, this place soon got the name Underwater Stonehenge. Stonehenge is, as you may know, a megalithic monument located near Salisbury in England. To this day, it's a great mystery how and who made these large stone blocks. However, the underwater Stonehenge was found in Lake Michigan in the north of the United States at a depth of 12 meters. One of the most interesting things they could find was a boulder with the markings of the mastodons on it. This allowed scientists to find out that this place was about 10,000 years old. This suggests that an ancient civilization in the north of America already used tools and possibly lived together with mastodons. This video is said to have been recorded in 2010 in Sagami Bay south of Kanagawa in central Japan by a National Research Institute. The description of the video says that they found a strange rock-like sea monster on the seabed of the bay. After finding other marine life, they suddenly see a strange rock-like monster. As the camera slowly zooms in, you can see that it has 2 pretty big whitish eyes on the side of its head. The description says it might be a giant frog, but it's still mysterious how the thing stays so still when staring at the camera. So maybe it's a rock after all. Or what else could it be? What do you think? Let me know in the comments. This is the black swallowfish, and it's so named because it can swallow fish much larger than itself. It's found in all parts of the ocean around the world at depths of 650 to 9,000 feet, or 200 to 2,745 meters, and is only a small fish. It can grow to only 10 inches or 25 centimeters, which makes it all the more surprising that it can devour larger prey. Its body has no scales, its head is long, and its snout is round. It mainly targets bony fish, which it can swallow whole. Sometimes it can gorge itself on large animals that are twice as long and even 10 times as heavy as its mass, because it has not only a large mouth, but also a large stomach. But the black swallowfish can sometimes get too greedy. If he's hunting big fish, there's a good chance he won't be able to digest fast enough before the fish starts to decompose. And that can lead to his own end. The sun is shining brightly, the weather is good, and you're enjoying a day on the water, hoping to catch something. However, this guy got the scare of his life when from the depths of the water, an unusual fish jumped out towards him. The fish has a spear-shaped head, a jaw full of arrow-shaped teeth, reflective scales, and a body more than 5 feet or 1.5 meters long. According to people in the comments, this would be a ribbon fish. When they mature, they come to the surface during the day to feed. At night, they prefer the dark depths. They're usually mistaken for eels, because they share some resemblances and swim like snakes. In this video, the YouTube channel Darsizzle Offshore manages to catch a giant ribbon fish in Florida. Just imagine if this sea creature jumped out at ya. That would be pretty terrifying. The Zemchug Canyon proves that there's actually an alien world beneath the ocean, and it's another phenomenon that has scientists scratching their heads. This is the deepest undersea canyon in the world. It's even deeper than the 6,000-foot or 1,829-meter Grand Canyon located in the state of Arizona. What makes the Zemchug Canyon so special is that it's completely underwater. Located in the middle of the Bering Sea, Zemchug Canyon is said to have a depth of 8,500 feet, or 2,600 meters. Now, you may be wondering what kind of marine life lives here. You can find northern fur seals, dolphins, and huge whales. But who knows, there may be other species here that we haven't discovered yet, as the canyon has never been fully explored. More than 130 million containers are shipped annually across the oceans to other countries. Each year, on average, 150 containers would fall from the cargo ships in the water. Some of them wash ashore, while others sink to the bottom of the sea. In May 1990, a story circulated that helped scientists a lot. A cargo ship lost 4 to 5 containers filled with Nike shoes. It was estimated that more than 80,000 shoes ended up in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. Every Nike shoe had the same code, 900406, and many of these shoes were found washed ashore all over the world. As a result, people studying oceanography were able to figure out how oceanic currents worked. Although this was a great loss to Nike itself, they helped the science community to create a new understanding and enabled them to study the oceans for many years. This video was uploaded on November 11, 2013 by a YouTube user named Captain JRD. It shows footage of marine life at a depth of 1,143 meters in the Indian Ocean off the coast of Africa. The video is recorded by an ROV, a remotely operated vehicle. They appear to see a strange creature that looks a bit like a crab. But in addition to looking strange, it suddenly transforms into a roundish thing that comes closer to the camera while also appearing to have different lights. The creature is curious about the camera and takes a closer look. In the comments, the people say it might be a ribbed jellyfish. People are speculating a lot, but it's unclear to this day what exactly this was. At the end, you can see the creature getting tangled up in the bow thrusters of the ROV. The stargazer fish has a pair of huge eyes on top of its head. This makes them always seem to be looking up instead of straight ahead. They're great at ambushing their prey. 2 characteristics are responsible for their great hunting skills. First is their venom, and second is their electric shock. To surprise their prey, they bury themselves in the sand. And when they see a potential prey passing by, they grab their victim with their sharp teeth. But sometimes when chewing is not enough, they use their 2 large poisonous spines to pierce their prey, or generate electricity of 50 volts to stun their prey. These venomous skills are also their great weapons against fending off their own predators. When you see this ocean monster, you would think it was a parasite from a horror movie. But no, this is a lamprey, also known as the vampire fish. It's not hard to imagine why it has that nickname. You see, they have a disc-shaped mouth full of razor-sharp teeth and even a sharp tongue. With their sucking mouths, these parasitic fish attach themselves to other fish. Their teeth are used to grip tightly. In this sense, they resemble leeches, sucking up the host's blood as well as other bodily fluids. There's stories going around that they can also grab onto people, but fortunately, this doesn't happen very often. They're native to the Atlantic Ocean, but have since migrated. Since the last few years, they've ended up in large lakes. As we see in the video, a fisherman caught a large fish to which a lamprey had attached itself to. Pretty creepy, and definitely an ocean monster you don't want to encounter. The last thing 3 divers expected when they were diving on the west coast of Norway was a life-size blob to emerge. They were originally there to investigate a World War II shipwreck 650 feet or 200 meters from shore. In a video that was uploaded to YouTube, we can see one of the divers swimming with this spherical blob. Now, the question is, what could this thing be? With a flashlight, one of the divers saw hundreds of thousands of tiny spheres. These globules are eggs, which contain baby squid. So this blob could be from a giant squid. The strange thing is that sightings of similar blobs have been reported for about 30 years. But this was the first time a clear video was made of it. In March 2013, Amazon boss Jeff Bezos decided to retrieve the huge F-1 rocket engines used 51 years ago by Apollo 11 from the bottom of the ocean. When Jeff was 5 years old, he had seen the moon landing on television, and he was inspired and decided to finance the project to retrieve the engines. The engines have been lying at a depth of 4,200 meters in the Atlantic Ocean since 1969. After 2 years, he announced that his research team had recovered the engines through advanced sonar technology. Another reason is probably because he owns his own space company called Blue Origin, and he wants to find out as much info as possible about the engines. Furthermore, Jeff Bezos tells that they found a lot more, and that some of the components could possibly be repaired. However, the F-1 rocket engines belong to NASA, but the idea is to exhibit the engines in a museum in Seattle, Washington for the public to admire. In 2013, Animal Planet came out with a documentary called Mermaids: The New Evidence. This had record-breaking ratings because they came up with evidence that some kind of mermaid-like creatures live at the bottom of the ocean. Biologist Dr. Paul Robinson went with a small group of people in a submarine to a depth of 900 meters in the Greenland Sea, located between Greenland and Iceland. At one point when they were filming underwater life, a strange hand came out of nowhere against the glass of the submarine, and then it swam away at an incredible speed. The strange thing about this is that a well-known television station is covering this, which therefore makes it believable. According to scientists, the water pressure would be too high to dive here, so it probably wouldn't have been a diver. Still, I'm pretty skeptical about this, but this video did make it on Animal Planet's most watched program with 3.6 million viewers. Lurking between 3,000 and 15,500 feet, or 900 and 4,700 meters underwater, the tripod fish is breathtaking. In fact, it looks like it can stand at the bottom of the ocean. Yeah, you heard that right. A fish that can stand. Their bodies can grow up to 17 inches or 43 centimeters in length, while their fins can reach over a meter in length. Because it can stand in the shape of a tripod, it tries to be as close to the seafloor as possible. It feeds mainly on small crustaceans, shrimp, fish, and plankton. They're sometimes called waders because of the way they stand and seem to walk. Researchers believe they must pump water into their fins to make their tripod fins stiffer so that they can stand. And when movement's detected from potential prey, they immediately grab it. This ocean monster doesn't look like something you want to encounter on the dark bottom of the ocean. The Magnapinna squid lives deep below the surface and mainly eats plankton. We've talked about the giant squid before, but the Magnapinna squid is the nightmarish version of the squid and is rarely ever seen. Barely 20 years have passed since scientists officially recognized and described it. The Magnapinna squid lives deeper than any other squid dares. Videos, such as those of crew members drilling for oil, show it living at depths of about 1.5 miles or 2,400 meters. The deepest record, however, is about 3 miles or 4,700 meters. The creepy appearance can largely be attributed to their appendages, but it's mainly their length that makes them creepy. The Magnapinna squid can reach a length of as much as 20 feet or 6 meters, but it's mostly their tentacles which can grow more than 20 times longer than their bodies. Pavlopetri is a 5,000-year-old city completely underwater, off the coast of southern Laconia in Peloponnese, Greece. It was rediscovered in the 1960s and is known as the oldest underwater city in the Mediterranean. But it's also one of the oldest lost cities inhabited during the Bronze Age. Not only that, but Pavlopetri predates Plato's lost city of Atlantis. It's also said to have been a trading center for ancient civilizations, such as the Minoans and Mycenaeans. Around 11,000 BC, Pavlopetri sank to the depths, possibly as a result of a devastating tsunami or deadly earthquake. What makes this discovery even more amazing is that many things are still intact, including roads, tombs, and buildings. So far, it's been determined that the city has an area of over 55,000 square yards, or 50,000 square meters. And who knows, they may find a lot more interesting info in the future. An American businessman named Jay Miskovich is said to have bought a treasure map in 2010 for $500 from someone he met in a cafe. This treasure map would have showed a marked location just off the coast of Florida near Key West. He brought a friend, and together they dived in the sea in search of the treasure. Arriving at the marked location, he would find a wreck of a ship containing about 70 kilograms of emerald gemstones, worth millions of dollars. Because of this discovery, he was seen in the news all over the world, but he kept the place where he had found the gem a secret. When some of these stones were examined by experts, it soon became clear that these were not real gemstones, and that they were covered with epoxy, a kind of paint. When Jay's story was checked, they found out that he had made the whole story up. Because of this, he got into huge debts and later ended his life in October of 2013. In October 2018, videos were released of a sea monster they named Headless Chicken Monster. This strange sea monster is said to have been first seen by scientists in 2017 in the Gulf of Mexico. But in 2018, they encountered this sea creature again in the Southern Ocean. Rather little is known about the animal, but it's said to be a type of sea cucumber. This strange-looking creature was reportedly observed at a depth of 3 kilometers, where the ocean is very dark. Articles call this sea creature a headless chicken, and it's been filmed by new technologies so that scientists are able to admire deep underwater life in this way. Videos like this make me wonder how many other unusual sea creatures might be there that we don't know about. The ocean floor has only been explored by 1%, so who knows what sea monsters are still waiting to be discovered. Deep-sea anglerfish are so-called anglerfish because they use a lure to attract their prey. The deep-sea anglerfish uses a special lure that lights up at the tip. This is because the lure is filled with bacteria that produces their own light. In this environment, where little to no sunlight reaches the water, the animals are curious and find a little light attractive. Therefore, the anglerfish is great for attracting shellfish and fish that could become its meal. In addition to the lure, the anglerfish has a very large mouth and stomach and pointed teeth. However, only the female anglerfish is blessed with illuminated lures. The males, which are usually much smaller, are not natural predators. When he finds a female, he clings to her until his own body becomes part of the female's. Very unusual, but this is how deep-sea anglerfish reproduce. In this video, we see a man who's anchored his boat somewhere in the ocean. At one point, a tiny ocean monster jumped out of the water. He described it as the size of a pinky fingernail and said he'd never seen anything like it. He uploaded the video to YouTube and asked people if they knew what it was. Although opinions varied, the most popular theory was that it was an insect called the damselfly. Damselflies are found in freshwater ecosystems in various streams, ponds, lakes, and rivers. But there were also those who believed it was a little mermaid, or some other unknown sea creature that hasn't been identified. What do you think it was? Let me know in the comments. The locals don't want to go near it, but a group of underwater archaeologists took a chance and investigated a sinkhole in the south of Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula. Their findings were pretty creepy. It turns out that this underwater cave, known as Sacoyayam, is cursed and littered with elongated skulls. For centuries, the legends and mysteries surrounding the strange cave were enough to keep the locals away. The ancient residents believed that a giant snake with a horse's head guarded the entrance. According to many, the underwater cave was said to harbor an evil energy. Other people believe that the entrance to the Mayan underworld is here and that it's home to the gods. I must say that the divers were very brave to explore this place, because some of the tunnels are so narrow that they can hardly even pass through with their oxygen tanks. If you like horror movies, you've probably heard of Jason Voorhees, a character from the movie Friday the 13th. Jason is known for wearing a field hockey mask, and the film made him an icon in the horror franchise. In one of the scenes where Jason is defeated, he ends up at the bottom of the lake. A big fan of the movies apparently thought it was such a good scene that he had created a Jason statue and chained it near Arizona in the northern Pacific Ocean. In 2013, a diver came across this statue for the first time, and he was shocked at first. But it soon became a popular statue for divers. Eventually, it turned out that the man named Zach Nagy had put it here for fun, 36 meters deep at the bottom of the sea. Since then, he scared off a lot of divers. This video is believed to have been recorded during the 2004 tsunami in Japan. A small snippet of the original video was uploaded on October 3, 2014, asking people what's seen here. Here we see the strange ghostly creature jump out of the water, and then it appears to climb up a house. There are several options. Option 1 would be that it's the spirit of someone or something. Option 2 is that it's some kind of gas from a gas tank, while others say that the way it moves is impossible. And option 3 is that this is a mysterious Japanese mythical sea monster called the Ningen. I honestly have no idea. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. Like the fringing shark, the goblin shark is considered a living fossil. Its ancestors existed about 125 million years ago. It has pink skin and is often characterized by its long flat snout that resembles that of the mythical creature, the goblin. The name goblin shark actually comes from Japanese fishermen. When they accidentally caught a shark, they noticed its protruding snout and pinkish skin, which reminded them of a character in their folktales, the Tengu, or a goblin. Goblin sharks can grow to be 3 to 4 meters long. In the year 2000, the longest goblin shark ever recorded was about 6 meters long. Unlike other sharks, the goblin shark is a limp shark with a soft body that moves slowly. It feeds only on ray-finned fish, cephalopods, and crustaceans that it can find near the seafloor. Have you ever been on a passenger ship crossing the ocean? It can be an exciting experience, but also terrifying, especially when the weather is extremely bad. This next passenger ship was sailing off the coast of Massachusetts in the United States when a number of people observed a giant sea monster. Many people on the ship screamed that it was a megalodon. As you may know, the megalodon became extinct 20 million years ago. They're the largest fish to ever ravage the world's oceans. Their length ranged from 50 to 60 feet, or 15 to 18 meters, with a weight of 50 to 70 tons. Fortunately, there was no megalodon swimming next to the ship that could break it in two, but the second largest fish in the world, the basking shark. As you can see in the video, basking sharks are still gigantic ocean monsters. However, they won't hunt for human prey. They roam the ocean waters and come to the surface with their giant mouths open, feeding on plankton. About 55 years ago, a man rescued a pilot from a plane that ended up in the water in the Bay of Bengal in India. More than 5 decades later, the man's grandson found the stolen plane that the pilot was flying. He had been looking for this wreckage since 2010, but with the help of other divers, he managed to find the location. The man who piloted the plane was the first Indian man to manage to land the Seahawk single-seater plane on the water. Unfortunately, the plane sank, and for many years it couldn't be found. Until 55 years later, it was found again by his own grandson. In my opinion, it's pretty incredible to find a plane at the bottom of the ocean with such a backstory. Don't you think? Many of you will surely know the story of the RMS Titanic, a luxury cruise ship that collided with an iceberg in April of 1912 and sank to the bottom of the ocean. There's a good chance that you've also seen the 1997 Titanic film, starring Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet. One of the reasons why the Titanic was so well known is because the ship was known to be practically unsinkable. So when the cruise ship sank in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean to a depth of 4,000 meters, this was incomprehensible. In September of 1985, the Titanic was rediscovered some 740 kilometers south of Newfoundland in Canada. When a team of researchers revisited the wreck in 2019, they realized that large parts had disappeared. This was due to the salty water and metal-eating bacteria. Some scientists therefore believe that the entire shipwreck will be completely gone by the year 2040. This mysterious video was uploaded by a user named Connell Malarkey. In the description, he says that he was filming when they were fishing at Low Foyle, a lake connected to the Atlantic Ocean and border between Ireland and the United Kingdom. As you can see, some kind of sea monster comes to the surface and swims past the two boats at quite a pace. If this is a head, it should mean that the monster would have been huge. People in the comments say it looks like a huge prehistoric sea turtle. Another person in the comments says that he's seen the exact same thing several years ago, but no one believed him. Connell says it might have been a whale, but his friend in the boat across from him could see it better and said it didn't look like a whale. So what could it have been? Is it fake? Is it a giant sea monster? What do you think? The black dragonfish is as intimidating as his name would lead you to believe, and he's also considered a top predator. He hunts a wide variety of marine animals at about 4,900 feet or 1,500 meters deep in the ocean, while few, if any, marine animals hunt him. But interestingly, the black dragonfish is only 6 inches or 15 centimeters long. Like the anglerfish, he also has a lure or barbel on his chin that can light up at the tip. It's equipped with photophores that can generate light, and it can be used both as a lure to attract prey and to signal potential mates. Its mouth also has sharp fangs, with which it can grab unsuspecting fish that come near its lure. But the real fascination of the black dragonfish is its transparent teeth. This has puzzled many researchers, and when they studied the specimens, they discovered that the teeth contain nanocrystals the size of grains that make them amazingly transparent. The legendary city of Dwarka is said to have been founded by Krishna, an important god in the Hindu religion. The city was also considered to be just a legend, but that was until it was allegedly discovered in 1963, which can completely change history. Originally, historians thought civilization in India existed about 3,000 to 6,000 years ago. But the sunken city of Dwarka brings this date back to as much as 9,000 to 15,000 years ago. Dwarka is said to have consisted of 900,000 royal palaces, all made of silver, adorned with expensive jewels and crystals. Later, a group of students accidentally found entire roads and high sandstone walls under the water. They also found copper coins dating back 9,500 years. What could have happened to this legendary city that it just sank? And why is it thought that this lost city is only fictional? What do you think? Would you like to explore the deep oceans yourself? Let me know in the comments. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more videos we've made, click one on the screen or take a look at the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.